food and travel content creator, and I'm here with Chinatown, London to show you the basics of table etiquette when it comes to Chinese cuisine. Now, I don't know about you, but the best way for me to learn about a new culture is through its stomach. So today we're going to cover 4 subjects. Number 1, tea etiquette. Number 2, how to handle your chopsticks. Number 3, what to do and what not to do when it comes to eating dim sum. And number 4, the do's and don'ts around the dinner table. I am very hungry, as always, so let's tuck in. I'm going to show you a few of my favorite spots. Let's go. Let's eat. Oh, sick fan. Oh, which means it's time to eat in Cantonese. Okay, let's go. It's time to eat. Let's start off with tea etiquette. This is integral to Chinese cuisine and it dates back to over 3,000 years of history. So here in front of me is a sample of different teas from Plum Valley in Chinatown, London. And we have lots of different options depending on your taste. Starting from the caffeine-free option, we've got chrysanthemum tea, all the way up to bolei, which is the fermented black tea. Or if you want to do something a little bit different, you can also get some flowering tea here as well. Look at how beautiful that is. And when it's served, it slowly unfurls up into the flower and it's steaming, it's beautiful. But let's run through all the do's and don'ts of the tea etiquette and all the different options of the teas, because every flavor of the tea goes with different types of dim sum or Chinese food. So whether you favor things that are more deep fried and salty and chili, we've got a tea for that. Or if you want something that's more steamed and light and fresh, then we've got another tea option for that. Or if you're new to tea, we've also got some good introductory beginner versions as well. So it's a tea for everyone, and dare I say, that is tea-rific.
But when was tea actually discovered? Legend has it Emperor Sunlong, whose name translates to divine farmer, rested under a camellia tree with some boiled water. A dried leaf blew into the water, creating an infused drink that we know and love now. And intrigued by the smell, the mythical emperor then took a sip, and thank goodness he did. Nowadays, Chinese tea can be enjoyed across 6 categories: green tea, black tea, oolong tea, white tea, yellow tea, and dark tea. Okay, starting with chrysanthemum. This is a light, refreshing herbal tea, and it's caffeine-free. So the blossoms are placed in boiling water for 5 minutes. This is best served with steamed dim sum dishes. Moving on to jasmine tea, hen pin, arguably one of the most commonly known and one of the most popular teas served. Jasmine tea is mild, light, and floral flavored, and is a good tea to start with for beginners new to Chinese tea drinking. It's a good all-rounder and goes with a lot of different types of dishes. We now have some oolong ta. Oolong is a semi-oxidized tea that sits in the middle between green and black tea, though it doesn't fall into either one of these categories. It's suitable for all dishes, but particularly goes well with salt and spicy food. Now we have pu'er, which is bolei ta. This is a post-fermented black tea with rich aromatic and much stronger flavors with an acquired taste. It's one of the most traditional teas to serve with dim sum, but particularly helps to cut through some fatty, rich and starchy foods. Okay, now moving on to 8 tea etiquette tips to take with you on your next visit. Etiquette number 1. Never leave a teacup empty or pour it to the brim, but instead fill it to 70-80% full. Having the teacup empty is considered to be rude, and having it too full means it's going to be hard for your guests to drink it. Etiquette number 2. Put your index and middle fingers together and tap on the table to signal a silent thank you when being poured tea. You might see this finger tapping movement at a dim sum restaurant or Chinese restaurant setting. This is known as the finger kowtow, a finger bow that represents the deep respect from kneeling and bowing. There are many legends of its origins, but one popular version of this practice originated when Emperor Qianlong travelled in disguise to a tea house with his court companions. To remain anonymous, he also took his turn to pour the tea, but bowing and kneeling to say thank you would reveal the emperor. So as an act of quick thinking, his companions tapped their fingers onto the table instead, with each one to represent a bowed head and kneeling legs. Nowadays, it's a silent gesture with diverse meanings, including say thank you to the pourer, the tea is enjoyable, and or a signal that is enough tea in the cup. Etiquette number 3. When being poured tea, receive the teacup with both hands to show respect. And etiquette number 4. Similarly, when serving tea to guests and or elders, serve the cup with both hands as a gesture of respect. Etiquette number 5. When serving food with tea, these should first be placed in front of the guest with the teacup to the right hand side. Etiquette number 6. Make sure the teapot isn't facing the guest, is considered to be impolite, but instead have it face outwards. Etiquette number 7. Don't drain your teacup all in one go. Savour it slowly and let the tea help digest the meal. Etiquette number 8. Rest the lid of the teapot against the handle if you want to gesture to the servers for a hot water top up for your tea.
I'm now at Dumplings Legend in Chinatown, London, about to tuck into all of this dim sum. But before we go in and eat it, let's talk about the do's and don'ts and a little history about dim sum. So dim sum means to touch your heart in Chinese, and you get bite-sized little portions of everything from steamed dumplings, deep fried, buns, noodles, you name it. We've got it. There's an alternative name for dim sum as well. So we call it yum ta, which directly translates to drink tea. So you know earlier we mentioned about how tea is so integral to Chinese cuisine. Well, sometimes we even just call the whole act of dim sum, let's go yum ta, let's go drink tea instead. And dim sum is meant to accompany the tea because this is the main character. I'm going to show you everything that we've got and then run through all the do's and don'ts when eating dim sum.
There's a reason dim sum is so loved around the world, and not only is it an art form in itself to create and absolutely delicious, but the custom is also rooted in history and now a way of uniting friends and families over a fantastic meal.
Dumplings Legend currently has a black truffle dim sum menu, so I've got some black truffle prawn chen fan, and they have loaded it up as well. Viv's already tucked in and she said it's really elevated the dish, so I can't wait to eat. Oh my gosh, if you love truffle and you love prawns, the truffle here is like, it's very generous of it, but it doesn't overpower the prawn too much either, so you still get like that fresh plump prawn, and then those like strong aromas of the truffle coming through, and the slippery rice noodle. I'm not even going to add chili oil, it's that good. Come here and get it if you love truffle and prawns and dim sum.
According to myths, this tradition traces all the way back to the Song dynasty, where weary travellers along the Silk Road would stop off at small tea houses for a drink and a rest. After discovering tea would aid digestion, the small businesses acted fast and started serving small light bites to accompany the hot drink. Now, these small bites have turned into a huge weekly feast enjoyed all over the world.
When it comes to Chinese food, we commonly eat it family style, so we don't tend to order individual dishes, but we just like to order a bunch of different things and all share it together, because sharing is caring, and it's right up my street because that means there's more for me to try, more for me to eat. But there's a few things to note as well. When you have a bunch of dishes in front of you, make sure to only reach for the things directly in front of you first, and then you can share it around rather than like reaching across the table and grabbing something further away from you, because that's considered impolite. In Chinese culture, it's so important to respect our elders, and that translates across to the dinner table as well. So before you serve yourself, always make sure to serve your elders. Viv, would you like a truffle?
Yes, please.
Here we go.
Thank you, Shu.
And I know when you're served with so many steaming baskets of dim sum, it's very tempting to just dig right in and grab a bit of everything. But it's important when eating dim sum to eat it one piece at a time, so it appears to be very, very impolite, and also as if like you don't have enough to eat. And when handling chopsticks as well, make sure you're not going in directly for the dim sum and then transporting it straight to your mouth. Pick up a piece of dim sum, transport it back to your bowl to then transport it to your mouth, and that's the most polite way of eating dim sum. Whatever you do, don't stab your dim sum. I know it's very tempting because sometimes they could be slippery little things. Don't just go like this, skewer it and be like, yeah, and serve it up. I mean, like, I'm actually cringing looking at this because I feel like my parents are like glaring at me. If you can, try and handle it like this, or you can ask for training chopsticks, or you can ask for a fork or a spoon. Oh, and also actually, very, very rarely find knives being served at a Chinese restaurant because knives are considered a taboo in Chinese cuisine and Chinese culture. So you always find a spoon or a fork. And if you ever need to share any bits of food, then you typically would use your chopsticks or a spoon and a fork to divide it. Now that we're finishing up the meal, we've got one bite of everything left in the basket. It's tempting to be like, soup dumplings are my favorite, I'm gonna just keep this to myself, but don't do that. Always serve it to everybody first and offer it to everyone else. So Viv, would you like the last dumpling?
Oh, yes, please. Thank you.
You never know, and it's polite. Always think about others first before yourself. Think of their stomachs first before your stomach. And now I can tuck in. If you frequent Chinese restaurants, you may see a common scene of people fighting for the bill, and it looks like they're fighting, but actually it is also part of the do's and don'ts of Chinese cuisine. We love a little like, oh, I'll pay for it, no, you don't pay for it. If you see this, we're not actually fighting, it's just like a playful little way of wanting to treat one another. So, ready?
唔好同我爭，
唔使啦，唔使今次我請啊嘛，今次我請，你上次請咗啦，今次我請 ，no no 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 no， 到你唔好咁啦，唔好啦，哎呀！
I hope you're hungry because we're going into our third and final stop of this Chinatown London food tour.
I'm now at Four Seasons in 12 Gerrard Street, and not only do they serve the best Cantonese roast duck, in Chinatown, London, and London. I mean, look at that, it's glistening. They also do a fantastic all-day menu serving seafood, vegetarian food, hot pots, rice, noodles, you name it. The staff are brilliant as well. But we're now going to tackle how to handle your chopsticks segment. Here we go. In some Chinese restaurants, you might sometimes see 2 pairs of chopsticks and you're wondering, which chopstick do I use and what for? Well, in more formal situations, normally you have a personal pair of chopsticks and that's for you to transport the food from your bowl to your mouth, and then a communal pair of chopsticks, and that's for hygiene reasons. So when you're sharing the foods and dishes, you're not dipping your own like spit and saliva into the foods, and you're being a lot more polite and, you know, considerate of others. So normally they're different colors, so it's easy to differentiate. Second thing when eating food as well, when you're serving, don't dig around as if you're digging around for treasure. It's hugely impolite. So if you see something on the service level, pick it up and then serve it to your bowl like this. Don't think, oh wait, what's underneath here, and then start digging for treasure, because that doesn't look very good. Another thing, when you have your chops in your hand, don't use it to point at people. So when you're talking, and I'm a very expressive person, don't be like, oh yeah, so as I was saying last week like this, hugely disrespectful. Put your chopsticks down and then do your hand gestures. And another thing as well, just don't play around with it and wave it around like this, or be like, oh hi, can I order my food? It's actually quite a lot of different chopstick things. Another thing to not do is that when you're resting your chopsticks, rest it parallel on your bowl or on your napkin. Don't cross it like this. Oh, and there's a really big thing in Chinese culture as well, and a lot of East Asian and Southeast Asian cultures. When you have your chopsticks, do not set them upright into the bowl like this, into your right. In Chinese culture, that resembles the incense sticks at funerals, so it represents death. So you don't ever want to rest your chopsticks in your bowl like this, and just set it down instead. Oh my gosh, that thin batter is perfect. Heaps of garlic as well, this is so good.
Before I go, there are so many more tips we'd love to share, but we hope this has been a great starting point to Chinese cuisine, and would love to know which other ones you practice in the comments below.
It's so good. We're so full, but we will keep on eating, it's so delicious. All right, sick fan, which means it's time to eat. Oh, I am so full and so happy. Remember to check out more of Chinatown London's videos, but I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a big like, a thumbs up, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next video, my loves. Bye-bye.